Hey, this is SJ Talks in Life coming back at you with another video. Um, I'm gonna play this clip. I figure I'm hopefully covered under fair use um, of this tragedy that happened to this baby in Detroit, and then I'm gonna come back with my commentary.
Adrian Jr. He had visible signs of head trauma and injuries to his face. We're told he was beaten to death.
It was like I just was so empty, and my family support. We walked inside and we asked did she have him, and that's when it got real. It was true. He was there.
Just 24 hours before Adriana Tim sat down with us, she got a call that her grandson Adrian Jr. was killed.
He was the sweetest little thing. He was the sweetest kid, very smart.
The details unraveled a horror story. Early Friday morning, a 911 call sent paramedics to a home off Claremont on Detroit's east side. Adrian was unresponsive and later died at the hospital. The child allegedly beaten to death by his mother's live-in
Oh,
boyfriend, who is in police custody.
poor
No
baby.
reason for an 8-year-old baby to be dead.
Adriana is Adrian's grandma on his father's side. Adrian's dad was shot and killed when the child was just 1 year old. But
Oh,
grandma stayed close to her grandson and his mom.
oh my goodness.
Jessica, I told her several times and times again, if ever you date, I don't trust people with my kids. So whenever you date, drop them off.
She says communication slowed the last 6 months and Adrian came around less. Grandma blames the suspect.
Oh
He
my
would
goodness.
dictate when my grandson can come and spend the weekends and go places with my daughter and I and my other grandchildren.
The last memory on a loop in her mind, taking her
Oh,
grandson to get this shiny blue bike. He said he'd be back for it, but that day will never come.
That was the last
oh,
time I seen my grandbaby alive.
Detroit police say they are
oh.
working to secure warrants for charges against that suspect. That is why they're keeping details close to the vest for now.
Oh.
Reporting outside DPD headquarters, Jessica Duke.
I was listening to this the clip a few days ago, and it just broke my heart. It just really broke my heart. It really broke my heart because I'm so tired. I don't know about you guys, but I am so tired and so over hearing these cases about these mothers letting these boyfriends moving in these boyfriends around their children, and the boyfriend winds up doing something horrible to the child, winds up unaliving the child. And mothers, I want to get a message out to mothers, the single mothers. I know it's hard being a single mother. I was a single mother for many years, and I know that you want somebody. I know you don't want to do it by yourself, and I know that you want somebody. I know I was a single mother for many years. I went through all that, all those feelings, and you want somebody there. When you're a single mother, you do want somebody. You don't want to do it by yourself. You don't want to be alone. You want to have a companion. You want to have a father figure to the children. You want that man in the home. You just do. You know, I don't know of too many women that want to be a single mother, and I get it. I get it. Been there, done that. I get it. But you got to put your children first. You have to put them first. And you can't be letting these monsters move in with up under you and your kids, and they're doing terrible things. These guys prey on single mothers. Single mothers, uh, particularly black single mothers, but all single mothers, but particularly black single mothers, be on alert. These guys prey on single mothers. They prey on single mothers. These types of men prey on single mothers. They don't care nothing about your kids. It's like what I talked about in that other video, and I probably will link that one up to this one. A lot of these guys are predators. A lot of these guys are violent. And you got to be careful. You can't be having these men around your children. You have to use some very strong discernment. You have to pray to God, consult the Spirit of God, but you cannot allow these men around you. You have to put your babies first. This precious little boy is gone now because she moved this man. And there were some people, I was reading the comments in the comment section, and there were some people that were saying, "Well, why do people putting all the blame on the mom?" Well, because she let him in there. She let the man come around her kids. She let him in there. That's why. Nobody's being misogynistic. Nobody's being sexist. She allowed this monster around her children because of her desperation and needs, wanting a man. Allowed this monster. She didn't use discernment. She probably didn't pray about it. Probably didn't use discernment. And she allowed this monster around her kids, and he took her baby. You see what the grandmother said? Did you hear what the grandmother said? He would dictate when she could bring him, when she could bring the child over to the grandmother's. Did you hear that? Did you hear what she said? And the other father, the father, the baby's biological father passed away. I mean, from the looks of the picture, it looks like he was an active father. It appears to be, but I don't know. But if somebody said something about the I said the biological father is no longer here. So I mean, these women, they be so desperate for companionship. These single mothers, they be so desperate for companionship. They don't use discernment, and they move these guys in. And a lot of times there are red flags, but they're overlooking them. If this guy was trying to dictate, whether he could visit the grandmother, well, that was a red flag right there. He was controlling. Why was he trying to dictate that? He wasn't none of her husband. He wasn't her husband. He wasn't married to her. Why was he able to dictate that? He was not her husband. I mean, I can understand a little bit more if that was her husband, but he wasn't none of her husband. No, he had no business trying to stand between him and his grandmother. He had no business. So that's a red flag right there that he he was controlling. And these women are ignoring the red flags because they're so desperate, and they come in and bring these predators and these monsters, these evil demonic men into their home, and their children wind up getting sexually abused. Can I say that? Violated. Their children wind up getting violated. They wind up abusing them. They wind up unaliving them. And I'm hearing, the problem is I'm hearing too many cases like this in the black community. I'm hearing too many cases like this. Or they wind up doing something to the mother, or to the mother and the children. It's tragic. I just when I listened to this case, I first seen it when it popped up on my recommendations, and I looked at the picture of the baby, and I initially I said, "Oh my God, please don't tell me something terrible happened to this baby." And I clicked on it, um, and because sometimes I see stories like that, I don't even click on it because it's just too much. But I did click on it, and I listened to it, and this it just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. And I said I gotta talk about this because it just breaks my heart. And so single mothers need to be more vigilant. They need to um, you got to put your babies first. You got to put your children first. I stopped dating altogether by the time my son was about 5 years old, my youngest. And of course, I went into the organization for many years after that. I stopped dating when he was about 5 years old. He was around 5 when I stopped dating. You know, and I didn't bring in no men around. I nipped it on the dating thing. And you have to put your children first. You have to put your children first. I had one guy I dated when my son was a baby. Um, try to get me to try to get move in. Um, and I said no, no, I will not. No, you cannot. You know. So, because I wasn't down with the shacking thing at that point, that stage. At that point in my life, I was not down with no shacking. So, I was like, no, no, you can't. So you can't allow these men to, if they don't have their own. That's the first of all. That's a red flag when they don't have their own. They need to have their own. They need to have their own. And if they come in to sack up on you, that's a red flag. They come in they don't have their own place. They can't afford their own place. They gotta come live off of you and your kids. Mm-mm. That's a red flag right there. And this didn't have to happen to this little precious little boy. This didn't have to happen. This did not have to happen to this precious little boy.
His mother's livid boy.
This didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen. And mothers gotta stop. I'm hearing more and more cases like this. Mothers gotta stop. You gotta when you're a mother, it's a tremendous sacrifices. You have to make a lot of sacrifices. And one of the sacrifices that you have to make is your dating life, your personal life. Being a single mother takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice. Being a parent takes a tremendous, and that's why a lot of people are opting out of parenthood because it takes too much. It takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice, you know. And a lot of women, they opt out. They opt out of dating altogether. Like I said, I quit when around my time my son was 5. You have to put your children first. You cannot allow these monsters, these demons around your babies. You cannot move them in around your children. They're not only looking to use and take advantage of you, but they're looking to abuse your children, possibly unaliving your children, like in this case here. Mothers got to stop doing that. I know you want that companionship. If you're going to date somebody, don't bring them home. Don't bring them home. Don't bring them home. Get a babysitter. She should have dropped the children off to the grandmother and just went on a date. And don't bring them home. She could have very have easily have done that. Do not bring the man home to your kids. Do not let him move in. He asked you to move in and all that stuff. I don't care how smooth talking he is. I don't care if he talking marriage, because they smooth. They're very smooth. Oh, baby, I want to marry you and become a family. And they know that marriage is a trigger word for women, especially single mothers. They know marriage is a trigger word. They know if they use that word marriage, that's a trigger word. They know that 9 times out of 10, a lot of these single mothers are looking to get married. And that's a trigger word. It's the game. It's the game. It's the game. These men know exactly what to say. They know what to say. They know what to do to weasel their way into your house. And you, as a single mother, can't fall for it. You can't fall for the okie doke. You have to be vigilant. You have to be smart. You have to be prayed up. You have to use discernment. Because these guys are looking, they prey on single mothers. That's what a lot of them do. That's the game. They prey on these single mothers. That's who they go looking for. It's single mothers. It's just like what that guy said. What was his name? I can't think of his name. I talked about him in one of my other videos. That comedian. He said that's what he looks for. He looks for low income women with kids. Yeah, he said it because he know that they got needs. So just think of how many millions of other guys that out there that have that same mindset. Just think of how many other guys out there that have that same mindset. And a lot of them ain't got money. Like at least he got money. These other ones ain't got no money. They have no money. And they're looking to sack up off of you and your kids. Ladies, young ladies gotta be smarter. You gotta be smarter. They looking to sack up with you, eat up your food, everything. And right now it's cuffing season. It's getting cold. Oh, it's these guys are sharpening up their fangs. They trying to get their game tight so they can move on in with these women and with these kids. They don't 9 times out of 10, they don't care nothing about the kids. Do you know it's hard for a man to bond with his biological children? It's hard for a man to bond with his biological child. A lot of men don't even bond with their biological children. Let's be real here. A lot of men don't even bond with their biological children. Now, how difficult do you think it'll be for a man to bond with children that's not even his? It's a very rare men. Single mothers got to get. I'm gonna do another video. That's gonna be a whole nother video. Single mothers got to get out of fantasy land. That takes a special kind of man, a special type of man to come in and be a father to another man's kids and really love and care for those children. That's rare. And you don't find that too much nowadays. That's very rare. That's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Single mothers need to get out of fantasy land. That is rare. It's very difficult for a man to bond with his biological children. And a lot of times they don't bond with the biological children. They're abandoning their biological children. So how difficult would it be for him to bond with yours? A lot of times these men don't give a hoot about your kids. They care nothing about your children. And when your back is turned, they're talking to your kids any kind of way. They treating them any kind of way. When your back is turned. Kids be trying to tell you what's going on, you ignore them. They be trying to tell you what's going on, you ignore them. You dismiss them. I've heard of cases where the girl was being violated. I'll say use the word violated by the boyfriend or the stepfather, and in some cases the biological father. And she tried to go back and tell the mother, and the mother don't believe her. I've heard a lot of cases like that. Mothers got to start listening to you. Got to start listening to your children. Ain't no telling what he was doing to this baby that before he unalived them. Ain't no telling. And I bet you that little boy was trying to tell her. I bet you that little boy was trying to tell her, and she didn't listen. She dismissed him. I bet you there was a lot of things that was leading up to him unaliving this baby. I bet you this baby tried to tell his mama, and she didn't listen. Because there's a lot of cases like these children be trying to tell their mother what's going on, and the mothers don't. Mothers, listen to your children. Listen to them. Pay attention to them. If you really truly love, I'm starting to believe these mothers don't love their kids. If you truly love your children, you need to listen to them. If they telling you, coming to you, telling you there's a problem with the boyfriend, you need to listen to them. They come first. They come first before that trash you let into your house. They come first. And you, if you really truly love your children, you will listen to them. A mother is supposed to protect her children. Somebody had to did something to one of my boys, I'd probably be sitting in. I wouldn't even be doing this video right now because I'd be sitting up in prison somewhere. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. I didn't play when it come to my sons. When they was coming up, oh, I probably would have been in prison, sitting in prison somewhere. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And that the problem is these mothers don't care nothing about their kids. They care more about a man than they do their kids. And the man moves in, he puts it on them real good. I'm gonna be real here. I'm not gonna mince any words. He put it on them real good, put the loving on them real good. Get that, make sure he get Bonds gets that soul tie going on. Then he sweet talks her, love bombs her, saying that, yeah, baby, we could be a family and get married because they know that's a trigger word. She turned her back. Oh, I just loved he and just acting like they loving on your kids when you're around. Okay, they acting like very affectionate toward the children, very fatherly and loving towards the kids. Of course. These guys are Academy Award actors. These guys will put Denzel Washington to shame. These guys are Academy Award winners. They will put on a performance with you around with your kids. But when you turn your back, they're treating your kids like trash, like garbage. You didn't got so in love with the man and everything. You thinking he's so sweet that when about the time the child comes to you and tell you there's a problem, you don't believe him. Because he done buttered you up so good. When the child does come to you and tell you there's a problem, you don't believe him. Oh, I'm a woman. I know the game. I was a single mother. I know the game. These men will try to slick their way into your house by any means necessary. Oh, yeah, I know the game. I know what's up. And I didn't fall for the okie doke. And that poor grandmother, she said that he would dictate when the baby could come over there. That was a red flag right there. And the mother ignored it. And they were talking about, well, why are they blaming her? That's because she let that monster around her kids. Let's be real here. Nobody's trying to be misogynistic. She allowed this bum around the children, around this baby. And I bet you there were all kind of red flags and she ignored it. He was probably abusing her too. If he wasn't, he was love bombing her and putting it on her so good to where she thought that he was the best thing since apple pie, to where she ignored the red flags. Because sex clouds your judgment. And these guys know that. They know that. Mothers gotta be vigilant. You gotta put your kids first. If you gotta put dating off altogether until they grown, or don't bring the man home. If you want to date, drop him, find a babysitter, drop the kids off at the sitter, and then you go on your date. And don't bring that man to your house. And if he ain't got his own stuff, then you don't need to be fooling with him anyway. If he don't have his own, you do not need to be fooling with him. Because these guys, they preying on single mothers. And I've read in all kind of comic sections. especially on red pill. All these good men. I've heard so many of them say that's all single mothers are good for. It's for a good time and that's it. And if that infuriates me, that infuriates me. I did a video a long time ago saying leave single mothers alone. If you don't want nothing serious with them, leave them alone. Don't date them. Don't sleep. Leave them alone. But that's the mindset of a lot of these men. That is the mindset. They're just looking to have a good time with you. They're not looking to get married. They're not looking for anything long term. They're not looking to wife you up. They're not looking to be a loving stepfather to your children. They're not looking for any of that. They're just looking to use and take advantage of you, to abuse you and your kids. That is what they're looking for. They're not looking to, and these women gotta be on alert. They prey on single mothers. I stated it many times. They prey on single mothers. Women need to be on alert. Now this grandmother is gotta mourn her grandbaby. And she says she tried to tell the woman. She says she tried to tell her. If you date them, don't bring them around the kids. She tried to tell her. Of course, these young ladies don't listen. It goes through one ear and out the other. Then they love bombing you and mistreating and dogging out your kids behind your back. That's what happens in a lot of cases. Single mothers got to do better. Now she's got to bury her grandson because a live-in boyfriend took her baby out. Ladies got to be careful. This shouldn't have never happened to this baby. This shouldn't have never happened. He looked like he's a sweet little boy. This should have never happened to this baby. Mothers got to do better. You got to put your babies first. Put your babies first. When you have children, you got to put your needs to the side. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself in terms of self-care. But a lot of you got to make it takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice. But as far as your love life, you got to put that aside. A lot of women forego it altogether until the children are adults. Yes, it takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice. If it means that your children are going to be safe from predators or you better vet that man so long. You better vet him so long. But it's rare. It's very rare. And I will say this again before I close. It's very, very rare to find a man that's going to come in and be a blessed husband to you and a loving stepfather to your children. That is rare. That takes a special kind of man. He has to be a special kind of man. And those men are rare. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Single mothers get out of fantasy land. You're not hardly going to find that. And put your babies first. Let me know what your thoughts are on this situation. If you heard this case, if you just looking at it now, let me know what your thoughts are on this. And hit that like, subscribe, and share, and that notification. Until the next video, you guys be blessed.